Hi everybody and welcome back to the Morinville Community Library. My name is Shelley and this is going to be our final craft for our Create It program here for 2023. So this is a preview of what we're going to be making. So I'm calling it a top hat cookie container. So this is what we're going to be working on today. So let's take a look at what we've got for our supplies. So on the counter here, you're going to see that there's going to be some black paint. There's going to be some greenery. We've got some mesh. We've got a pine cone here, a couple of ornaments, some berries of some sort, a little container of faux snow. There's an assortment of ribbon. And the most important part is we have these cookie containers, totally food safe. And then you're going to have a different plate as well. So everybody's got a bit of a different plate that we're going to be painting. So the other supplies that you might need is a glue gun. I've got my little finger here to protect my fingers. I've got a glue stick. In your kit, there should be a foam brush as well. I've got some more glue sticks handy. Got some scissors. I've got a container with some water. Got some wet paper towel to get that paint off my fingers. And then I've got another container here. And what we're going to be doing with this is we are going to need to set this lid onto something so the paint can dry onto it. So if you've got a bowl, a cup, something like that, that'll work. That would be terrific. So let's move some of these things out of the way and we can get started. All right, so some of you may not have a color top. You might actually already have a black top. So that saves you a little bit of time in painting. I tried to track down as many as I could, but there just wasn't a lot that came out for Halloween this year. So in this project, we're going to need to do this top. We're going to paint the outside of this tub, and we're going to paint part of the plate that is here as well. So I'm going to open up my paint here. So the key to painting this stuff is to start with some thin layers to begin with, because that'll dry a lot quicker and you're going to get a nicer coverage all over. So you just want to thinly the first time, so it's okay if you see some of the other underneath color coming through there, because we just want to get that beginner layer on there, and it'll allow us to have some extra paint down the road without running out. So it doesn't look all that great to begin with, but it is going to get better. So the next thing you want to do is the sides, and I'm not going to go in underneath there because the lid's going to be coming off and on, and all that's going to do is probably chip at some of this paint, and I want to keep it as food safe as possible. So I want to keep the paint just on the outer edge. I'm going to grab my bowl here. Got this last little bit to do here. All right. I'm going to put this over to the side here. Move everybody else over. And then next I'm going to go ahead with the tub. Same idea. We are only painting this surface here. Move this up a little bit. Here we go. So just this exterior. We don't want to paint the bottom, because if you do that, you're going to find that this isn't going to stick when you go to glue it, hot glue it to the plate. It's not going to stick quite as well, and it's just a waste of paint. So again, we're going to get just a bit on here, and we are just going to do a very quick paint here over the container. And again, you're going to see some of the underneath the white coming through. That's what we want. We just want the first layer to be very light so that it will dry quickly, and it's going to give us a better layer for the next ones to adhere to keep that completely covered. So this is definitely something that won't be able to go into the sink or the wash, but it can definitely be wiped out with a wet cloth on the inner part. But this paint part here is not going to be sealed, so you don't want to be putting this in the sink. And besides, it's going to be attached to the plate here as well. All right, so that guy is there. We're going to let that dry. And then we're going to go ahead onto the plate. Now everybody has a bit of a different plate. Some of them have like a gold finish to them or whatever. I found, again, just putting a light layer of paint on to begin with, giving it a dry. If you have a hair dryer, blow dry it on. Adding some heat will help it to adhere. And we mostly want to focus on this outer area here because we're going to be adding this just off center a little bit. So if you want to think about that right now as to where it is that you're going to be placing it. So I have one edge that goes right to the back of the center ring, and then all the rest is what I'm going to be painting because we're going to be adding some decor to the front here, and we want to make sure that there's room for that. So I mean, if you want to do what I'm doing right now as well, and that, just keep the plate on there, or sorry, the tub on the plate, and just go ahead and paint all the way around it so that you know what area needs to be done. This is actually adhering really nicely. This particular plate has a nice texture to it. So, but we definitely don't want to be painting in under the center there. We want this to be free so that we can put the hot glue on there and ensure that that's going to actually be sticking to the plate. So we don't want to create another barrier that's going to make it difficult for that to stay on. All right, getting to the last little bit of it here. So I'm going to take the hair dryer and I am going to give this a little bit of a dry, and I'll be back with some more painting. Okay, so I'm just going to show you close up here what I meant by having a thin first layer on there. You can see that this all looks very kind of muted. It's not shiny, so it has completely dried, but you can still see some of the blue. And that's what we wanted to have for the first layer, just to get that top coat on there so that we can continue to fill this in. And same with the other parts here as well. They have a very matte finish. The shiny parts are still a little bit wet. So we want to try and get as much of it completely dry before we go ahead and start with the next layers. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll be back. All right, so I've gone around and I've put a second layer of paint onto all the pieces, and made sure to touch up any spots maybe where my fingers had exposed the color from underneath. So I've got that all sealed. So I've decided I'm going to add one more step to it. You don't have to do this, but I liked the look of it when it was wet and shiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white glue. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, and I'm going to create kind of a Mod Podge sealer to go onto this so that it's not going to chip off very easily and give me that shiny look that I really liked when the paint was wet. So I'm just going to go ahead and just thin up this white glue, and this is going to dry clear, so you don't have to worry about that. Again, you don't want it to be too thick, like how we had put on thinner layers of the paint. You don't want it to be too thick. You just want it to be enough to cover it and seal it. And that will allow it to dry a little bit quicker as well. So I am going to start with the top again. So I've got that sitting on a bowl here. And I'm just going to go ahead and just put a light white of this glue. So again, this is going to dry clear. So just be aware of any thick ridges that might be forming as you're putting this on, like on the edges there. And just keep going all the way around. And then we're going to do that for our other pieces as well. Then I'm going to use the hairdryer again and give it a dry, and we'll see what it looks like after that. Okay, so we are back. I've gone ahead and put a thin layer of the white glue on there. And it looks so much better, just like that extra little glisten that's on there. So yeah, make sure that you really water down that glue. That will help it to dry quicker, and you'll have less ridges to it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start adding our accessories to it. So you want to make sure you've got your glue gun heated up. Make sure you've got some extra sticks handy. So it's going to take a little bit of glue. If you happen to have some finger protectors, super handy. Grab that. So the first thing that we're going to do is, again, we're going to take a look at our plate here. So when we were originally painting it, I had put most of it to the back of one side, and then we had more of a surface here to decorate. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to adhere this center tub now. And I just did a pretty random zigzag across the bottom. And again, you want to make sure you've got lots of glue in your gun for this. All right, so I've got a glue gun here, and we are going to put a really good bunch of glue on the bottom here, kind of all over. I'm going to flip that over and have it go to the back of one side, and make sure that you're not exposing any of what the plate originally was there on the front. But just kind of take some key spots to have the glue to adhere. Doesn't have to be like super solid on there because you're not carrying it by this. You're going to be carrying it by this. There we go. So we have that guy on there. So now we can start building up our design. So every kit has some different ribbon in it. This one here just happens to be the little red truck. So kind of decide where the center front is. I'm going to put mine right here. And it's the front, not the back, that you want this to be. There we go, because we're going to be covering that seam up with some of the other supplies that we've got here. And then you can just, as you go around, you can add a little bit more glue just to make sure that it's adhering onto there. And this is all adhering to the container. There you go. And I've got a little bit extra there. So I am going to trim this off. There you go. And that's going to get finished up right there. There we go. Again, it's handy to have these little finger protectors. They definitely do their job. And so we've got the ribbon that's on there. Now the rest is up to you with your supplies here. You can go ahead and layer however you like. I find having something on either side kind of helps to balance things. And with these guys here, if you prefer not to have as much of the snow as the greenery with the glitter, you can do it that way as well. It's Again, totally up to you. I think with this one, I'm actually gonna do the greenery. So I'm just gonna shape it a little bit so that it's going to adhere well to here, and I'm gonna angle it up a little bit. So let's get some glue onto here. There we go. And start it where your seam is for your ribbon, because again, we want to kind of hide that. Oh, you know what? Before that, I'm going to take this back off really quickly. This is what happens when you're designing and you've got so many different things. I'm going to put this on first. So I've got a little bit of some mesh here to kind of do some disguising as well. And I'm just going to kind of scrunch this up. I'm going to put a little dot of glue in the center here. And I'm going to use my finger protector. So just be very careful if you don't have them. And I'm just going to scrunch this up a bit. Now this one seems to kind of have some straggler strings coming off of it. So I'm just going to trim those away to give it a little bit of a cleaner look. There we go. All right, so I've got that kind of scrunched together. So I am going to put a good grouping of glue here. And I am going to press that into there. And that's going to help also disguise that seam at the front there as well. So I may need to add a little bit more glue. We'll see how it starts to adhere. Looks like I can use some up top here. I'll go ahead, put some of that up there. Just give it a second to hold. There you go. There. It just adds a whole nother dimension. It looks like it's needing a bunch more glue. Let's try that. There. Get that going in on there. Okay, so while that's kind of cooling into place, I'm going to go ahead again and grab that greenery. Going to get some of the glue onto there. Just don't seem to be having good luck with the glue guns today. There we go. And I am going to have that one come up a bit onto the tub. Just give that a second to hold. See how it's doing there. Add a bit more glue back here. There you go. We're working with curves here, so we're trying to get the glue into the shaping there. There we go. And I'm going to add my berries right here as well. So some glue down there, some glue up here. Get a bunch of it to go through. There we are. More glue down there. Looks like we need some more glue up top. Let's see there. I'm having to push through this back end here to get my glue to come out for some reason, but we will get it working. You can make it work. There's a good bit of glue up on there now. Get rid of some of these stragglers. All right. And I have this little Christmas tree. This guy in the front. Put him right there. Looks really nice. And you can use all of the things, or you can find things that you have around the house as well that you might want to add to personalize. You've got like a special ornament or something like that, and you want to send this as a gift to somebody, that would be great as well. Okay, what else do we got here? I have a little Christmas ball. I think will fit perfectly right under there. Got to get the glue in the right spot. There we go. And I have a pine cone here as well, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put him on the other side here, right in there. Some other glue down for it to hold on to. Some of the greenery come up. All right. And one of the last things that I did here, I'm going to go ahead and put on our lid. There we go. Is I took a glue stick here. Make sure that it's clean and working. And I just went about 2/3 of the way here around on the plate and a little bit on the top here. And that's where I put the snow. So let's open this little guy up. It's going to be a little bit messy, but it's going to look magical. Just sprinkle some of that on there, sprinkle it down on here, onto the glue, some of the glue on this side here, and you can kind of press it in to the glue, make it adhere, press this stuff on in there, and there you go. So not only is it a terrific centerpiece, it can also be filled with cookies and be a terrific gift for anybody else, and then used as a decoration afterwards. So I hope you enjoyed this craft. I wish you all happy holidays and safe and healthy new year. And I look forward to what we can get together crafting with come 2024. So thank you so much. If you would like to send me a picture of what you created, love to see it. Send it to info@morinvillelibrary.ca. Attention, Shelley, for the Create It crafts. And yes, happy holidays.